Imagine a single grain of rice representing $100. 000. A whole pile of it would symbolize $1 billion. Now, picture the wealth of the world's richest individuals. It would be a mountain of rice so vast it's incomprehensible. How is such immense wealth actually created? And what determines how it's distributed? What are the real mechanics behind our money system? It often feels like these fundamental principles are never clearly explained. Money is the lifeblood of our modern world, and understanding it is crucial. Let's break it down. Think of a simple, self-contained economy. A fisherman who catches one fish a day, and a hunter who bags one deer every 3 days. If they're both rational, they'll quickly realize that trading, say, 3 fish for 1 deer benefits them both. They can each enjoy a more varied diet. This is the most basic form of economic cooperation. Now, if they trust each other, they can specialize. The fisherman learns all the best spots, increasing his catch to 3 fish a day. The hunter becomes an expert tracker, bringing down a deer daily. The trade ratio stays the same, but now both have more than enough. This is the power of the division of labor, the original source of economic growth, and it's all built on a foundation of trust. This concept of trust, or credit, scales up. In early societies, trust was local, within villages. Then, it expanded to the level of the nation-state, with kings and governments enforcing rules. Today, that trust network is global, allowing for incredibly complex international supply chains for everything from smartphones to spacecraft. Every transaction, from a simple barter to a multinational corporate deal, relies on this underlying credit system. As our fishermen and hunters society grows and trade becomes more frequent, they naturally move away from direct barter. They start using something everyone agrees has value, perhaps rare shells, then precious metals, and eventually government-minted coins. This early money had 2 key features. It was scarce, not easy to get, and it was backed by a powerful authority that mandated its use for paying taxes and settling debts. But these commodity-based money systems had a critical flaw. They were prone to deflation, because gold or silver coins were hard to produce. The supply of money often couldn't keep up with the growth in goods and services. When money is scarce, it becomes more valuable. People start hoarding it. The desire to trade drops, and prices fall. This deflation can cripple an economy. History is filled with governments struggling with this. They couldn't mint coins fast enough, and the cost of minting sometimes exceeded the coin's face value. When people, especially the wealthy, began stockpiling currency, the problem got worse. Some rulers even tried extreme measures, like outlawing the hoarding of cash, with little success. In desperate times, they would debase the currency, creating new coins with the same face value but less precious metal inside. This was essentially a primitive form of printing money, and it led to rampant inflation, wiping out the savings of ordinary people and causing immense social hardship. The core issue was that the money itself, a physical commodity, was a bottleneck. The system was too rigid. The coins in circulation represented a credit chain, a promise from the ruler, but it was a chain that was either too short, stifling trade, or could be recklessly lengthened, destroying its value. This brings us to the modern revolution in our understanding of money. Today, we need to stop thinking of money as a physical thing and start thinking of it as a form of debt or a promise. When the fisherman accepts coins for his fish, he's accepting a token of the hunter's future labor, a promise that he can later redeem that token for something else of value. In the modern era, we have transitioned from a government-centric credit system to a bank-centric one. The government, through its treasury, still handles taxes and spending, but the creation of most money is handled by the central bank and the commercial banking system. So, how is modern money created? Let's follow the chain. A country's central bank creates what is called base money. It does this primarily by purchasing assets, most notably foreign currency like US dollars from international trade. For example, when an exporter earns $1, they sell it to a commercial bank for local currency. The commercial bank then sells those dollars to the central bank, which credits the commercial bank's reserve account with new local currency. This new money, backed by the central bank's holdings, enters the economy. The central bank can also create base money by lending directly to commercial banks or by buying government bonds from them in the open market. This is how a central bank, like the Federal Reserve, can inject liquidity into the economy, especially during a crisis. But this is only the beginning. The real magic, and the source of most money in our economy, happens in the commercial banking system through a process called credit creation. Here's how it works. Imagine you, a construction worker, get paid $100 for your work and deposit it in your bank. You might think the bank is just safeguarding your $100, but in reality, you've entered into a contract. The bank can use your money, and in return, it promises to give it back to you when you ask. The bank is required to keep only a small fraction, say 10% or $10, as a reserve with the central bank. It can lend out the remaining $90. Now, someone else, let's call him David, wants to buy a house and needs a $90 loan. The bank lends him your $90. David pays the home builder, who then deposits that $90 into her own bank account. Now, your bank statement shows $100, and the builder's shows $90. There is now $190 of recorded money in the system. But the bank only physically holds the original $100. The process repeats. The builder's bank keeps 10% of her $90, $9, in reserve and lends out the remaining $81. This $81 gets spent and deposited again, creating another deposit. This cycle continues through this multiplier effect. Your initial $100 deposit can ultimately create close to $1,000 in total bank deposits throughout the system. This is the essence of our modern money. The vast majority of it, the numbers in your bank account, is not cash in a vault. It is deposit money, created by the extension of credit within the banking system. Its existence is a record of a promise and a debt. This system is far more flexible and powerful than the old metal-based one, as it can expand to meet the needs of a growing economy. However, it's not perfect. This credit-based system is prone to creating too much debt, leading to financial bubbles and devastating crises when the leverage unwinds. Furthermore, while this system is brilliant at creating wealth, it is not inherently designed to solve the problem of distributing it fairly. This leads to profound social questions. In our pursuit of more goods and services, have we become enslaved by the very system designed to create them? The worker on an assembly line, the call center employee repeating the same script, their labor becomes a commodity, a cost to be optimized. The human behind the role can feel secondary. We trade our time, the one truly finite resource we have, for digital tokens of debt, which we then use to acquire products that often fulfill manufactured desires. Consumerism becomes the engine that must be constantly fed to keep the system running. We are caught in a cycle where satisfying one desire only fuels the next, and the dream of enough seems perpetually out of reach. The modern monetary system has given us a world of incredible abundance, but it has also created unprecedented levels of debt, inequality, and a pervasive sense of anxiety. The numbers in our bank accounts are a form of debt that we spend our lives working to repay. It is the foundational contract of our modern world, and its consequences are what we all live with every day.